he does a lot of live stuff around England, and he loves touring. This is his second time in Australia, and his first time in Tasmania, and he's been having a great time, although he is somewhat tired. He's waiting in the wings. The only thing I'd like to say about him is he's one of the few singers who makes ordinary people like you and me seem really special, and he celebrates it in a really wonderful way. So let's hear a bit of celebration of you and me from Jez Lowe. Please make him welcome.
Good evening. Good evening. Nice to be here. That was the strangest Australian accent I've heard of.
Yes.
Right, yes, I come from northeast England. And most of my songs are from that part of the world. But a lot of them have got choruses, and you don't need a northeastern accent to sing them, so if you want to sing along, please do. I'm going to start off with a song called A Call for the North Country. It's a calling on song. There's an old tradition of calling on songs where I come from. At the beginning of the evening, calling everybody together, imploring them to have a good time. Right, and this is a recent song, but it uses an old traditional chorus that I've stolen from somewhere. And the chorus says, someday, some say, they'll all be growing greener in the North Country. Well, we hope so. An optimistic song to start with, written before the last general election in England. Someday, some say, they'll all be growing greener in the North Country.
Listen to me sing my song. I'm a windblown seed in a land of greed, living the dream gone wrong. Ah, but someday, some say, they'll all be growing greener in the North Country. I reckon that of them born lucky. I tell you that it ain't no lie. I can't even cross my heart for fear I'd surely die. Ah, but someday, some say, they'll all be growing greener in the North Country. I left me aged parents, living on taking in trash. The house was sliding down a worked out seam, waiting for the cold board cash. Ah, but someday, some say, they'll all be growing greener in the North Country. Here we go. Ah, yes, someday, some say, they'll all be growing greener in the North Country. Lovely, do it again. Ah, yes, someday, some say, they'll all be growing greener in the North Country. I once loved a brown-haired woman. She left me for a place on high. Now she's looking for the Great North Road in a twinkle in an old man's eye. Ah, but someday, some say, they'll all be growing greener in the North Country. One day I met me mojo working, spitting on the horseshoe ground. You can't do me harm with your accent charm, walking the sun ways round. Because someday, some say, they'll all be growing greener in the
here about coal mining. Evening. A couple of songs about coal mining because I come from an area of England that was once famous for its coal mines and its coal fields until it was all pulled apart by Margaret Thatcher. So it's a coal mining song called Black Diamonds. I've been singing this many, many years. It used to be when I sang this song, I used to have to explain in England what the black diamond was a coal mining term. Nowadays I've got to explain what a bloody coal mine is. Most of the bit to sing along with, one line that comes and goes all the way through, which goes way down, black diamonds to be found. Dead easy. Except you've got to get that way, that north of England way down. Can you try that, please? Way. Tunbridge Wells springs to mind, actually.
Shining in the lamplight, a mile beneath the ground.
Thanks very much. Another coal mining song. I sing all these coal mining songs. You know, I've never been a coal miner. My dad was a coal miner, and my uncles and cousins and everybody, they were all coal miners. But I was never a coal miner. And if you lived in our village and you weren't a coal miner, if you wanted the community but you didn't actually work down the pit, then they had a sort of a pet name for you, called a wimp. And but this is a song about a fella, and he wasn't a coal miner either. His job was to go around the streets of the village very early in the morning to wake the miners up for their first shift down the pit, 3 o'clock in the morning. So he would go around at 2 o'clock and he'd knock on all the doors to make sure the guys were going to get up for work in time, you see. And he would keep knocking till he saw some sign of life. And he was called various things. You can imagine making people up that time of the morning. He was either known as the knocker-up man, in polite society he was known as the caller, and this song is called Cursed Be the Caller with his knock, knock, knock. Who's that knocking there? Who's that rapping there? Who's that tapping there? Can't you let us be? We've been to work today, digging our lives away, down below the frozen clay and out beneath the sea. Oh, cursed be the caller with his knock, knock, knock. While lying there at 2 o'clock to hear the caller's angry knock would give the devil himself a shock as he lay fast asleep. A working man has not the right to sleep his way all through the night. Clasp your dreams with all your might, 'cause dreams will never keep. Oh, cursed be the caller with his knock, knock, knock. The sky is cold, the sky is black, you struggle to get off your back. The night is always twice as dark when you have to leave your bed. A second knock and then a third, it's no good saying you never heard. The gaffer won't believe a word, it's enough to wake the dead. Oh, cursed be the caller with his knock, knock, knock. So curse the caller, curse him well, let him wake the souls in hell. He'll find a place there for himself, I'm sure it is his home. I bet if he left us sleeping fast, tomorrow's shift would be our last. So leave the caller to his task, but curse him all the same. Oh, cursed be the caller with his knock, knock, knock. So who's that knocking there? Who's that rapping there? Who's that tapping there? Can't you let us be? We've been to work today, digging our bloody lives away, down below the floors of the clay and out beneath the sea. Oh, cursed be the caller with his knock, knock, knock. Oh, cursed be the caller with his knock, knock, knock. Somebody who's driving a blue Corolla. Your car's on fire. No, it's not. No, it's not. You left your headlights on, though. A blue Corolla. A metallic blue Corolla. You deserve to have a flat battery if you can afford it. cigar. I come from a place called Durham, more or less, just outside. It's the city of Durham. Anyone ever been to Durham in England? Yes. This song's called Back in Durham Jail. Anyone ever been to Durham Jail? No? The last gig I did before Christmas, December the 23rd, it was in Durham Jail for the prisoners, a Christmas concert for the prisoners, a captive audience. And they specifically asked me not to sing this song. The guy in the song, he says when he gets set free from Durham Jail, he's going to stick to the straight and narrow in future, take up the harmonica, and never darken its doors again. And the chorus of the song this time, if you want to sing along, the chorus goes, "No, never in the livelong day, you'll not find me back in Durham Jail." very much. The last time I was over here, in Australia anyway, it's about 18 months ago, I met a fella from Sydney who had lived in Sydney for about, since the early 60s. He'd come over from England in the early 60s with his parents, and he was from the same place in England that I was from originally. And about 3 or 4 years ago, he decided to go back to the northeast of England to meet up with his long-lost relatives, some that he'd never seen for 30 years or more, some he'd never ever seen before. And he went back hoping that, feeling sure they were going to be really pleased to see him. Big family reunion. Unfortunately, it was a family reunion that went wrong, really, because they weren't very pleased to see him at all. Basically, they felt that he'd been in Australia having a whale of a time in the sunshine and making loads of money, while they'd been struggling in the northeast of England trying to make ends meet. And really the song, it's not a comment on Australia or England or anything, but it's just like, it's an observation really of the sort of chip on the shoulder that's very sort of widespread in Britain in recent years. So it's called Spitting Cousins. The guy who told me the story, he saw the funny side of it in the end, but I mean, he was genuinely, he was quite horrified when it happened, of course. Spitting Cousins.
Share my name, I guess that's true, and me father's father was your father's too. But did you really think I'd welcome you with an open door? You spent your life in a land of plenty, while I've spent mine where the bowl's been emptied. 'Cause one brother stayed and one slid gently like a rat to shore. Blood's no thicker than the cold North Sea, no more. Instead of too much time to rue my lot, I could have been the one to have the things you've got. If my old man had had a bit more bottle and had seen what the rest all saw. But now the years have peeled away in dozens, and you slip your hand upon the family bosom. Well, I'm more a spittin' than a kissing cousin, and me pride's a red raw. The blood's no thicker than the cold North Sea, no more. How bloody stupid did you think I'd be? You'll not get a single slice of fatted calf of me. Well, you talk of sunshine and open spaces and warm green forest all over the place. I happen to like the wind and rain in me face till it's cold and sore. And blood's no thicker than the cold North Sea, no more. Been one or two changes since you went away. We got colour television, but real life turned grey. Now you stand in me pub with your plastic dollars. You woo the women and you charm the fellas. Why should I be bitter? Why should I be jealous of a sunburned boy? So take your presents and your tax-free booze, your laughable hat and your snakeskin shoes, and make like you're precious kangaroos are not off my damn floor. 'Cause blood's no thicker than the cold North Sea no more. You share my name, I guess that's true, and me father's father was your father's too. But did you really think I'd welcome you with an open door?
I'll do a love song now for you. I'm going to do a couple of more songs before I bring Chris and Julie on. This is a love song. I'm getting to the point now, I'm thinking of going back home, you know, this time next week I'll be back. I've got to buy a new car when I get back, because my car's on its last legs when I left. It's probably got chickens in it by now, actually. When I was a kid, I drive an old Ford, diesel Ford. Do a lot of miles, like. And when I was a kid, I thought I'd end up with a car like James Bond. Do you remember the James Bond car, the Aston Martin? Do you remember that one? I ended up with an old Ford. But anyway, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, more now, 3 or 4 months ago, I was driving up to Newcastle on Tyne, up the A1, up the motorway. And I was driving the old Ford, but it was just like driving the James Bond car. That bit in the film, I don't know if you remember, where he's getting chased by baddies and all this thick black smoke and oil starts spurting out the back. It's just like that. It was incredible. So this is a love song inspired by that very thing. And it's got a very easy chorus, which I hope you're going to pick up. Just caught my eye at the back of the paper, 5 pence a word in 4 inches square. Best offer secures 6:30 or later. A heart and its memories for spares or repair. One eye on the clock and an eye for a bargain. First in the queue, they were mine to collect. I saw straight away that the heart was well broken, but the memories were well worth me while to inspect. For spares or repair, spares or repair. We'd all be millionaires, wouldn't have to sell for spares or repair. Well, they spread like a picture book out on the table, faces in places in vivid relief, the ones at the front all laughing and able, gradually changing to distance and grief. Well, the previous owner stood by me in silence and tried not to look as I checked times and dates. But the further I went, well, the more I discovered, and I saw that the memories were in too sad a state. For spares or
said, I just want them away off me hands. They take so much time and need such looking after. Memories like those take their toll on a man. Well, I walked out the door, he closed it behind me. I'll splash out on you and forget secondhand. For what good is a heart to you when it is broken, and old memories just give you grief in the end. For spares or repair, spares or wouldn't have to sell for spares or repair. Give it a go once more. Spares or repair. And again. Spares or repair. If memories were money, we'd all be millionaires. Wouldn't have to sell for spares or repair. Yes, if memories were money, we'd all be millionaires. Wouldn't have to sell for spares or repair.
Song. At this point I usually say I've got lots of CDs and songbooks and cassettes on sale, but I haven't because I've sold them all. They're all gone. But you're glad, eh? But the thing is, you've got to, instead of, well, please, if you're going to buy anything, Chris and Julie have got some fabulous CDs, lots of different ones. When you hear them, you'll know that you want to buy them. So if you want to buy my stuff, there's a list out there you can put your name on. When I get back to England, I'm going to send, you know, sort of list, all the lists of things I've got. If you're really interested, put your name on the list. You'll get something through the post before the next Olympics. And but please buy Chris and Julie's stuff, because if you don't, I've got to smuggle it back into England for them, because I'm the one that has to bloody carry this stuff. We smuggle in. I realised when we were going to New Zealand, I was smuggling their CDs into the country for them. Can you imagine? Things I do. Anyway, a song to finish with about some people who are living in the bad part of town. They're trying to work their way up the social scale to the high part of the town. Social climbers, we call them. I don't think you've got them over here in Australia, but anyway, we do have them in England. Most of them are married into the royal family. And the chorus, dead easy, the chorus goes, keep your hands down in your pockets and your eyes down on the ground, for the streets are lined with silver in the high part of the town. Okay, that is, keep your hands down in your pockets and your eyes down on the ground, for the streets are lined with silver in the high part of the town. Every Sunday we go walking to the high part of the town. Ever since me father went up there and he found half a crown, he said this is easy money, the conditions can't be beat. We've never found a penny more, but it keeps us off the street. Keep your hands down in your pockets and your eyes down on the ground, for the streets are lined with silver in the high part of the town. Our house is not so crowded since me mum she ran away. She'd rather live from hand to mouth than live from day to day. Well, me father's often lonely, but it's a blessing in disguise. It's cured me mother's headaches and it's cured me dad's black eyes. Keep your hands down in your pockets and your eyes down on the ground,
for the streets are lined with silver in the high part of the town. Then a man came from the council for to make me go to school. He asked me lots of questions, then he told me lots of rules. Then they tried to teach geography, but I found it much too hard. When he asked me where does coal come from, I answered next door's yard. Keep your hands down in your pockets and your eyes down on the ground, for the streets are lined with silver in the high part of the town. Sunday night, me father, he had a bit too much to sup. He swapped his Sunday overcoat for a 7-week-old pup. Well, they told him it was a bulldog, he believed them, I suppose. But we found out it's a poodle with a badly broken nose. And keep your hands down in your pocket and your eyes down on the ground, for the streets are lined with silver in the high part of the town. They sent me home from school last week as they said that I had nits. Me mother said she was ashamed, but I was thrilled to bits. All me friends were green with envy, so I knew just what to do. I sold them knits at 10 pence each and they all got sent home too. And keep your hands down in your pockets and your eyes down on the ground, for the streets are lined with silver in the high part of the town. Father said someday we'd live in the high part of the town, but every time he gets a job they close the coal mine down. But it's not when the pits are closing where me father's troubles start, it's when they close the pubs as well, it nearly breaks his heart. So keep your hands down in your pockets and your eyes down on the ground, for the streets are lined with silver in the high part of the town. And keep your hands down in your pockets and your eyes down on the ground, for the streets are lined with silver in the high part of the town.
Thanks very much. Hello again. Hey, typical woman, look what she's doing underneath there. Get me head in there. Right, thanks very much. It's been a long tour, but have we had a good time? Wow. How about you? Are you having a good time? Yeah.
Too right.
Requests actually, which is incredible, coming all this way and finding that people already know what I do, and they've still come out with a concert after years.
There's a big brown photograph I bet you've seen of young men propping up walls. shawls, hanging in the back by a cash machine, and women in boots and shawls. It's the same street back 100 years or so. People nothing to do and nowhere to go, but hang around watching the world turn, propping up walls, looking down on me from a day gone by. Young men propping up walls, caught in the clicking of a dead man's eye. Women in boots and shawls, as I paid in wages from a job down south. I just come home to feed the family mouth, and hang around watching the world turn, propping up walls. Young men propping up walls, women in boots and shawls. Tomorrow's only but the past, drowned in and out the penny of the rich man falls. I came outside, what did I see? Young men propping up walls, some of them young'uns looking older than me, and women in boots and shawls. Bricks and mortar from a bygone year, the one support you're gonna find round here. So hang around watching the world turn, propping up walls. Young men propping up walls, women in boots and shawls. Tomorrow's only but the past, dragged in and out the penny of the rich man falls. Supermarket rocking wide-eyed kids, young men propping up walls, counting pennies on the bean can lids. Women in boots and shawls, feed your kids up to be big and strong, 'cause their time's coming and it won't be long, to hang around watching the world turn, propping up walls. Young men propping up walls, women in boots and shawls. Tomorrow's only but the past, dragged in and on the penny of the rich man falls. And I dream at night in a pale brown tint of young men propping up walls. They've turned my town into a sepia print, with women in boots and shawls. Promises, promises, a real routine. Anyone will tell you what the next day means. Hanging around watching the world turn, propping up walls. Young men propping up walls, women in boots and shawls. Tomorrow's only but the past, dragged in and out the penny of the rich man falls.
In many ways, I feel quite at home here because, apart from, it was very nice of you to arrange the weather to really give us a good welcome yesterday. But anyway, I live right next to the sea. If you roll out of my back door and roll about 20 yards, you fall into the North Sea. The North Sea, as you probably know, is the sea between Scandinavia and my house, in fact, it is. And it's a wild, wild sea all the year round, really. And this is a story of a ship that was doing some fishing in the North Sea, and it ended up wrecked on the beach outside my house, as I myself have been on various occasions in the past. But anyway, this is 100 years ago, and the people who were lost in the wreck are buried in the local churchyard, and nobody knew who they were. They just found them on the beach, as it were, buried them in the churchyard, and the gravestone tells the story about what happened, and and starts off the story of the bonny bark, the Bergen. And the Bergen was a bark, which is an Old English word for a schooner, apparently. I thought that was something you drank beer out of, but what do I know about these things? And it came from Finland. And the chorus of the song says, "Pity the hearts, the wild waves part, me love sails the bonny bark, the Bergen."
Sleep wide, you wake me with these dreams you bring. Dreams came to me when I lay, and deep the melody the wild waves sing, and my love is far, far away. Oh, and pity the hearts the wild waves part, me love sails the bonny bark, the Bergen. Keep their nets upon the decks by night. Dreams came to me when I lay, then creep out gentle at the dead of night, and my love is far, far away. Oh, and pity the hearts the wild waves part, me love sails the bonny bark, the Bergen. They reap a harvest from a cold night sea. Dreams came to me when I lay. It leaps with heron neath his decks for me, and my love is far, far away. Oh, and pity the hearts the wild waves part, me love sails the bonny bark, the Bergen. Steep waves rise above his cold bare head. Dreams came to me when I lay. Oh, keep him safe to lie here in me bed, and my love is far, far away. Oh, and pity the hearts the wild waves part, me love sails the bonny bark, the Bergen. Weeps with rain tonight where my love lies. Dreams came to me when I lay. Oh, sweep that foreign sand from out his eyes, and my love is far, far away. Oh, and pity the hearts the wild waves part, me love sails the bonny bark, the Bergen. Wild waves part, me love sails the bonny bark, the Bergen.
Thank you very much. There's an event that takes place every year in Durham City. Durham is a very old city with very narrow streets, but every year in July they have an event that's called the Durham Big Meeting. It used to be known as the Durham Miners Gala, or Gala. And what happens is, Saturday in July, the narrow streets of Durham are invaded by thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And all the mining communities in the country used to send their union banners, big colourful banners on big poles, to be paraded through the streets of Durham. With each community has their own brass band, military-style brass band with uniforms and everything. And there'll be thousands and thousands of people, and there'll be lots of eating and drinking and dancing and vomiting and stuff like that. It's still good. And they'd all parade through the streets from the marketplace down to this big open space near the riverside, which is the race course, in fact, big open space. They'd have political speeches there by left-wing politicians, and we'd all listen to them. And then we'd all go to the shows. The shows, that's what our name for the carnival, like the fairground, just a few, stalls and a few rides, like bumper cars and stuff, and the waltzer. Do you know the waltzer? I think it sort of went round and round and up and down at the same time. A lot more vomiting at that point. And then they'd have the leak competition. The leak competition, not who can do it highest up the wall, but who can grow the biggest and whitest leek. They don't eat many leeks in the northeast, but they grow a hell of a lot. I don't know what they do. But anyway, then we'd all go home after that, having had a really good day out. It's been privatised now, so it's not so good. But this is as I remember it when I was a kid. Big meeting day.
When big meeting day came round, we knew we'd have to beat the crowd. We set off bright and early, feeling happy, pleased and proud. The day was ours to kill, the golden sun was shining down. We found a parking place in Sherburn Hill and walked back into town. We walked along through Giles Gate, wondering where to venture first. And while we were a-pondering that, we thought we'd quench our thirst. The pubs were full, and so we bought a crate from off a van. It was much too heavy to carry, so we drank it there and then. We let our hair down, with conscience good and clear. We let our hair down, 'cause it's only once a year. The market square, it was crowded fit to burst. We saw our colliery band go marching past, but only just. The woman next to me, she said, I'm really over the moon. That's me husband on the trumpet, he's the only bugger in tune. Then a man in uniform stood with a pint glass in his hand. He looked alone, and so I said, I hope you can find your band. He seemed to take offence and put his glass upon the bar. He said, I'm a traffic warden and I hope I can find your car. He let his hair down, with conscience good and clear. He let his hair down, 'cause it's only once a year. Through a swirling crowd on Silver Street, I spied a friendly face. And though it seemed familiar, it was one I couldn't place. He made his way towards me as I tried so hard to think. It clicked when he said, come on now, son, buy your dad a drink. Then a bus slowed up from Berkeley, they were out to have a hoot. And to keep their driver sober, they'd locked him in the boot. Before too long, they'd all forgotten where they parked the bus. When the rest have gone, they said the one that's left will be for us. They'd let their hair down, with conscience good and clear. They let their hair down, 'cause it's only once a year. Company knew the way to the race course, till someone spied across the crowd a jockey on a horse. It was just a mounted policeman, but we still kept on his trail. Me leaks would win some prizes if I'd only brought a pail. Then we slept all through the speeches and we headed for the shows. But you shouldn't go on the waltzer if you've brought no change of clothes. Then the crowds began to head for home, their banners rolled and furled, and the sun lit the cathedral at the centre of the world. We let our hair down, with conscience good and clear. We let our hair down, 'cause it's only once a year. Such a sight you never saw. Crowds and beer and chips and cheer and banners by the score. Famous politicians perched upon the balcony as the whole of County Durham went a-marching on the spree and let their hair down. With conscience good and clear, they let their hair down, 'cause it's only once a year, so let your hair down. Conscience couldn't clear, well, let your hair down, 'cause it's only once a year.
Australia. I've always had such a really good time. Actually, everybody's so friendly, none of the musicians really could do it without the support that we get as we go around. But the last time I was over here, it was a long tour. I was on my own. I didn't have such delightful company as Chris and Julie. There I was, the other side of the world, feeling very sorry for myself. I got very homesick, which is very rare for me. I don't usually get homesick, because I don't usually go home. But there I was very homesick. And now whenever I play in the south of England, you know, places like Leeds and Sheffield, places like that, they call me a Geordie. That's what they call people from where I live. But Geordies, in fact, are from Newcastle upon Tyne, which is a very small part of the country. Now I'm from Durham, which is a bit further south. But when I was over here on my own, I became a Geordie. I was so homesick, I became a Geordie. I started talking with a really strong accent, because normally, as you hear, I don't usually have an accent. And just being, so it brought out it accentuated everything, basically. And that's what this song's about. So it's sort of like a Geordie homesick blues. And it's got a bit of a chorus, but the chorus is in the vernacular. So I better explain it. The chorus says, "How do we get on? Why man, what you doing?" Which, translated into English, means, how do we get on means, get away, you must be joking. Why man, what you doing? Well, you don't expect me to believe that. How do we get on? Why man, what you doing? That's what they call the song. I don't think it's going to get into the top 10 in Australia. That's right. If you're feeling bilingual, join in. Oh, the sky was scarred with rainbows and bruised black with April showers. It was warm at Sydney Harbour Bridge, but as wet as Blackpool Tower. And the man with the mandolin last night was weeping deep for Dublin, as I practiced basic native tongue on the French girl he was cuddling. I said, how do we get on? Why man, what you doing? Well, I wish that I was back with them that know just what I mean when I say, how do we get on? Oh, the Yankee on the aeroplane said, man, you're white with terror. I said, I much prefer the terror firmer down their marrow. He said, are you a Scotsman? I said, only when I'm angry. He smiled and said, your humour tells me you must be a Cockney. I said, how do we get on? Why man, what you doing? Well, I wish that I was back with them that know just what I mean when I say, how do we get on?
in shorts and cream was as hairy as a carpet. He said, mate, what's your football team? I said, Hartlepool United. He said, me father saw them play once back in '67 when he had to fake a gammy leg when they couldn't make 11. I said, had a way gone on. Why man, what you digging? Well, I wish that I was back with them that know just what I mean when I say had a way gone on. Oh, last night a woman said I had the style of Frank Sinatra. A professor up from Wollongong said I'd the pen of Jean-Paul Sartre. And a Scotsman said me songs were shite and me accent was a scandal. And the only true-born Geordies left were Sting and Johnny Handel. I said, had a way gone on. Why man, what you doing? Well, I wish that I was back with them that know just what I mean when I say had a way gone on. Based on an old banjo tune. It's an old Geordie banjo tune. Over there in Newcastle on moonlit nights, they all sit on their porches playing their banjos in the moonlight, watching the leaks grow. And if I'd have learned the songs I should, I could sing you blading races. But all I know are Dylan songs and that single by Oasis. I dreamed I saw old Bob last night. He was drunker than a scuttle. He was trying to play some slide guitar with a Newcastle brown ale bottle. I said, had a way gone on? And he said, why man, what you doing? Well, I wish that I was back with them that know just what I mean when I say had a way gone on. Give it a go. Why man, what you doing? Well, I wish that I was back with them that know just what I mean when I say had a way gone on.
Right, back to the coal mines, as they say. Now, back in the 1950s, in our village, there was a terrible mining disaster. 80 men were killed. It's one of the biggest mining disasters in recent times, I guess. 1951 or something it was. And for years and years, people used to say to me, "You should write a song about that, you know, Jez." But I always resisted it. Because it was a bit close to home, you know. There were families I knew that were involved, and I didn't really want to write songs and stuff about it. But then, almost 40 years to the day after this disaster happened, the last of the surviving widows, the last wife who lost her husband in this disaster, she herself died. And so this is a song that's about her, really. It's called The Last of the Widows of the Duckbill Seam. And the Duckbill Seam was the seam, the part of the coal mine where this thing happened. So it's not meant to be a sort of a miserable slash your wrists mining disaster ballad sort of thing. It's meant to be kind of spiritually uplifting. Because in the song, the widow and her dead husband are reunited after all those years, wherever people get reunited. Hartlepool reunited. Last of the widows. The last of the widows of the Duckbill Seam is lying tonight with her young man again. They're clinging fast together, soothing sighs and pain, and coaxing back the love their loss survived. The last of the widows
were never spoken, last kisses never broken. She never even watched him walk away. But the last of the widows of the duckbill scene reached out and took his hand again today. The last of the widows of the duckbill fire stood bleak and bewildered as the Count climbed higher, then wept for the world across a newsroom wire when she heard his name called out across the crowd. And when the world had turned to leave, 80 women turned to grieve and cursed their compensation through their tears. But the last of the widows of the duckbill scene can close her eyes and wipe away the years. The last of the widows of the duckbill flame is free of the lonely nights of bitterness and blame, and there's some who'll remember when they speak her name, the reason why she lived so long alone. And in the fields above the dangers of Gresford, Trindon Grange, as well Hartley, Beam and Markham, Maine, the last of the widows of the duckbill scene is walking with her minor lad again.
Thank you very much. In recent years, I've become like the unofficial chronicler for events that take place in our village. Whenever I go back, there's people always basically telling me gossip, and as I say, saying that, you know, I should write songs about it. And in the 1960s, we had our own pop group in the village. They were called Freddie and the Mazzares. I don't know if you've heard them here in Tasmania. I don't know if they ever did any gigs actually, but they had a van, because they used to always be driving up and down the main street in this big pink van with Freddie and the Mazzares written in green on the outside. Anyway, they obviously went on to bigger and better things, because Freddie is now our milkman. And he's always, Thursday night he comes down for the milk money whenever I'm at home, and he always tells me this stuff, you know. And this is a one that came from Fred anyway. It's a true story of two little kids, two little lads, who were like best of pals, 5 or 6, 7 years old, I don't know how old they were, but they were hung around together, you know, all the time. Then one day they fell out. Something happened, they had an argument, and one of them says, I'm going to get my dad onto you. My dad's going to come down here and he's going to kick your teeth in. And the other one says, if you get your dad, I'm going to get my dad. My dad's bigger than your dad. So it went. And it ended up with the two dads in the middle of the street, sizing up to each other in the middle of the street, with the entire street out watching what was going to happen, you see. So I thought this was worth a song. The names have been changed to protect me. And bit of biblical imagery involved here, because one of the dads was a little tiny little bloke, but the other one was this big sort of strapping bloke, you see. So biblical imagery. And the song's called The Night of the Fight Between Davis and Golightly. And it's all true. Since I wrote the song, they've had a rematch actually.
here all know one another. Well, there's never any trouble and there's not much bother, but feuding sons mean feuding fathers, settled in the little and scores. Well, a boy called Davis, a lad called Golightly, best of friends became best of enemies. I'll tell mine if you tell your dad of me, and my dad's bigger than yours. Oh no, don't say you don't believe me, 'cause I was there the night of the fight between Davis and Golightly. Well, the news got round like soot from a flue, and the doorsteps filled for a better view, as Davis did what a dad's gotta do and defend the progeny's pride. Well, we watched Golightly stride down the street, cleared a spot for the two to meet. From one to the other we looked and agreed, we said, Davis, you're gonna die. Oh no, don't say you don't believe me, 'cause I was there the night of the fight between Davis and Golightly. Davis stood 5 feet in his stockings, with muscles on his arm like knots on cotton. When God gave strength out, he was forgotten. We said, Davis, you're gonna lose. Now Golightly, he can fight like a savage, with cauliflower ears and a brain of cabbage. People say he's crazy and damaged, with hobnails on the soles of his shoes. I said, oh no, don't say you don't believe me, 'cause I was there the night of the fight between Davis and Golightly. So, face to face they were pushing and shoving, till someone shouted, look who's coming. And through the crowd pushed this bloody big woman, built in the Amazon style. Now Davis knows just who the boss is. Here she was, his loving missus. Her father used to breed cart horses, you could tell it every time that she smiled. Oh no, don't say you don't believe me, 'cause I was there the night of the fight between Davis and Golightly. A single word she uttered, as Golightly stammered and spat and stuttered. He didn't know which side his head was buttered, as he fell down there at her feet. So the house of Davis won the day, and as we carried Golightly away, we saw the two little lads there at play, quite happily on the street. Oh no, don't say you don't believe me, 'cause I was there the night of the fight between Davis and Golightly. I said, oh no, don't say you don't believe me, 'cause I was there the night of the fight between Davis and Golightly.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I'm going to do a couple more songs, and this is a lullaby. It's a lullaby to an old man, and the song's called "The Old Moon is Resting in the New Moon's Arms." I don't know if you're familiar with that expression, but it's one of those situations that many of us find ourselves in, I guess, where the parents bring the children into the world and raise them up and stuff, and then there comes a time when the children go off into the world on their own, hopefully, and then sometimes there comes a time where the children have to come back to look after the parents. Role reversal, as the parents are growing older. The old moon is resting in the new moon's arms. That's an expression that sometimes when there's a very new moon, a very bright crescent moon, you can see the shape of the full moon kind of resting in that. That's where this come from.
When the winter night it reaches to your soul, you'll just sit all night by firelight, I can tell. They've taken all the smoke out of your coal, but why'd they have to take the warmth as well? And dark night will bring you near to me, to keep a boy from dreams of fear and harm. Now the boy is grown, those fears are yours alone, and the old moon is resting in the new moon's arms. So I tell you all the talk about the town, for to walk down there yourself, you say it's too far. And all those friends who said they'd never let you down, now all their seats are empty round the bar. And dark night will bring you near to me, to keep a boy from dreams of fear and harm. And now the boy is grown, those fears are yours alone, and the old moon is resting in the new moon's arms. And I'd pat that big old belly if I could, or kiss you on your shining shaking head. But at tenderness and touch I'm not so good, so I'll stoke your precious fire for you instead. And dark night will bring you near to me, to keep a boy from dreams of fear and harm. Now the boy is grown, those fears are yours alone, and the old moon is resting in the new moon's arms.
Hey. Thanks ever so much. Thanks ever so much for listening. And I'm going to finish with this one. And stick around for the rest of the night. You're going to enjoy the rest of the evening. Excuse me. I said we're off to Perth tomorrow. I mean Perth in Western Australia, not the one that's 3 miles up the road that I was told about. This is a song telling everybody to have a good time while you can. Life is very short, it says. Life is just a bowl of toenails, as we say in County Durham. We're here today, we're gone tomorrow. Who knows what tomorrow may bring? If you've got any money, don't save it for a rainy day, spend it. Because who knows what tomorrow may bring. And you can't take it with you when you go. And the song's called You Can't Take It With You When You Go. And it has a chorus which goes, so unpredictable. You can't take it with you. Actually, you can take it with you when you go. Because Chris and Julie have got some CDs and back there, and you can take them with you when you go. So thanks for listening. And I'll finish with this one. We haven't been in Tasmania very long, actually. The last time I was over here, I went to Alice Springs and I was there for 16 hours. Finish with this one. Well, now this just can't be right, making one drink last all night. What kind of poor fella do but watch the world passing by? Dressed to the nines and all that, sparkle and shine and spending half a week's wages in the blink of an eye. But you can't take it with you when you go. You can't take it with you when you go. Give me half the chance, I'd get up there and dance, 'cause you can't take it with you when you go. They've got more money than sense, they tell me. Damn the expense and keep a card up your sleeve and get your cash from the wall. 'Cause time's marching on, you'll find your time's overdrawn, and you'll be brought to account, me friend, in no time at all. And you can't take it with you when you go. You can't take it with you when you go. Because the last shirt you wear has no pockets to spare, and you can't take it with you when you go. Some people live wall to wall with stuff that's no use at all. Wash china cups they don't drink from, and the flashiest of clothes. Fine arts of the best, like bastard ducks flying west and Blackpool Tower in the bottom that you're shaking its nose. But you can't take it with you when you go. Come on, you can't take it with you when you go. So grab what you can before the shit hits the fan, and you can't take it with you when you go. I'd give you all you could ask for, but it all seems to go before the spending can start. Behind closed doors, you know what's mine can be yours, and though I've not much to give you, love, it comes from the heart. But you can't take it with you when you go. You can't take it with you when you go. 'Cause it's one piece of the pie that no money can buy, and you can't take it with you when you go. Thanks very much. See you again. See you. Thanks very much.